Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV. It's January 31st, 2014. To my right is Cody Bills and I'm Brock Schimbino. We had a positive end of the week in Chicago. Let's turn over to the live quotes to see how we finished. Corn was up just a half a cent. Soybeans, the leader to the upside once again, up 7 3/4 cents. Wheat in Chicago up 2 1/4 cents, and Kansas City wheat was up 4 3/4 cents. You know, on the week though, Cody, corn, we did have a relatively positive week, positive gains for the week overall. Soybeans actually ended up negative for the week. We had big losses on Wednesday, with trumping the last 2 days of rallying that we've seen there. And wheat, we actually ended up negative for the week as well. So we have seen a little bit of a mixed trade here this week for overall price changes, but I think the real action was taking place in the soybean market this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you look at the last 2 days of trading, you'll notice on this chart, this is a March soybean chart. It's a daily chart, so each one of these bars represents 1 day worth of price activity. You'll notice the last 2 bars were green. We had pretty good days on Thursday and Friday, trying to come back from that big steep loss on Wednesday. But I'm skeptical of these rallies. I think that right now people are looking for some sort of export cancellations and switching of demand from the U.S. down to South America, particularly Brazil. And we're just not seeing those cancellations. And I think that once we start to see those cancellations, or once we start to see real demand switch to South America, then we're going to start to see this soybean market retesting the lows and potentially moving lower here. I think one of the things to keep in mind, I guess, when I look at this is the cash market. And I think the cash market is tipping the hand a little bit, perhaps a little foreshadowing. Soybeans was down on average across the U.S. by a penny. We saw the Gulf off 2 cents. The whole river system on average was down 5 cents. The crush plants were the only ones that bucked the trend. And I think that starts to make sense, especially when you're looking at the Argentina story. We did see crush plants in the western part of the U.S. Do a little bit better than the eastern part of the U.S. I know that when we look at the eastern part, we did see a Cargill facility shut down, citing the lack of demand. They were idling the facility. The bottom line here is I really believe that the cash market for the soybeans is starting to see a little bit of weakness, and I wouldn't be surprised in the coming weeks here, as Brazil continues to ramp up its harvest, that we start to see soybeans retesting those lows of 1260, and if through 1260, I think we could take another leg lower here. Brock, what's the weekend look like down in South America when we're looking at the harvest in Brazil?
You know, I think the weather and the harvest that's going on in Brazil is really going to keep pressure on that soybean contract. If we take a look at the high temperatures that are anticipated for Saturday and into Sunday, not overly barreling heat is anticipated for Argentina and Brazil, so harvest should progress rather quickly there. If we look at Sunday, one area to watch here is going to be the northern part of Argentina. The temperatures are anticipated to be a little bit hotter there, but once again, not too overbearing on the temperatures there. As far as precipitation is concerned for the weekend in South America, Saturday precipitation, not a whole lot is anticipated for the growing area, so harvest should continue to move along rather quickly, especially in Brazil. And into Sunday, not a whole lot of precipitation anticipated there as well. We know earlier in the week, Argentina, northern part, did get a nice drink of water. That was much needed, and that kind of was what was pressuring soybeans midweek. Later on this week, that we kind of saw that dry up, and we're seeing some better growing conditions for northern Argentina. So I just think the overall weather conditions right now are rather benign. It's going to allow harvest to progress rather quickly, and I think that's going to continue to just add pressure onto that soybean contract.
That definitely sounds fair enough. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I think when we look at the weather situation, it looks very positive for harvest in South America. That's going to put pressure on soybeans next week, most likely. Not only that, but you see a weakening cash market, and I would just pay close attention to export sales, because if we start to see them taper, I think that's going to give the bears enough momentum to break through the lows. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in, and remember, you can take a demo of the mobile trading platform at grainhedge.com and see the markets trade live on your phone. Give us a call at 877-472-4607 if you want to learn more. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here on Monday.